take 5,000 bucks in cash, put it outside of the banking system. We're all trained to keep our money in the banking system. I think having some outside, it makes a lot of sense. So $5,000 in cash, and then I would take 5,000, put it into precious metals, probably an ounce of gold and 100 ounces of silver. That comes to about $5,000. That's what I would do. That's my buffer for short-term emergencies. So when we think about that emergency savings, having that physical component, there's no right or wrong here, but I think a lot of people say, well, silver's too risky. And I would say don't conflate volatility with risk. Yes, silver is much more volatile than gold. And if you can't stomach that volatility, that's fine. But I also honestly think silver is lower risk than gold over the next 12 to 24 months, or call it even longer than that, over the next few years. It's historically cheaper, and the ratios suggest that. I personally have a lot more of my money in silver than I do gold. Here's the gold to silver ratio going back to 1975, and you can see where we are here. We're at 80 to 1. Interestingly, just above or approaching a key resistance level at 80 to 1 ratio. You can see on this chart in the last 45 years, we've spent very little time above an 80 to 1 ratio. And whenever you do go above there, it's usually pretty short-lived. So I think that speaks to silver's undervaluation relative to gold here. This isn't for everyone. I view platinum as more speculative as part of that emergency savings. But platinum is actually undervalued relative to silver. I was stunned when I started looking into this, but it actually is on a ratio basis. Platinum has the potential to outperform silver. That doesn't mean it's going to, but it does have that potential. So for me, I like about 20% of my physical in platinum. Here's my personal allocation between silver, platinum, and gold. This isn't the one size fits all for everybody, but in the interest of full transparency, this is what I'm doing. So I've got 70% in silver, 20% in platinum, and I'm trying to get that gold allocation up to about 10%. So 70, 20, 10 for me. And I like the idea of swapping platinum for gold or silver if and when those ratios normalize. That's an advanced step, and there's risks with that because there's always the chance that we just can't get the physical. The physical isn't available to swap. So you want to build something you're happy holding if you're unable to swap, but that is an upside kicker. Platinum is extremely undervalued relative to gold and silver, and I would love to be able to swap my platinum for much more gold down the road. All right, step number 4 here. This one is so easily overlooked by the precious metals community because unlike the rest of the world who wants all their money in the system, we tend to want all of our money out of the system, all of it. And I can see that, I can relate to that, but I think there are some instances where it makes sense to have some in. And I say that because this doesn't get as much attention as it should. There's a tax tsunami coming. It may seem like taxes are high, and they are. They're not. It's not fair. I don't agree with our tax structure. But historically, taxes are actually low here in the United States. And you can bet your bottom dollar that taxes are going to be going up, not down, in the years ahead. And there's some tools that we can use as informed investors to protect ourselves from that. So I'm a big fan of the Roth IRA, and I like to say save 15% for retirement. And my preference is take the company match. If you get a match, I say take it. And then within those options that your company gives you, usually there's some options that are less bad than just, the S&P 500. So try and pick the best options in there that you can. And better yet, if your company has a Roth 401k, even better. I like to say get as much money into that Roth as you can, because the way a Roth works is it's after tax. You get no tax benefit now, but that money grows tax-free. So a good analogy is the seed is taxed, but the harvest grows tax-free. And that's what I like. If you've got all your money, like a lot of people in a traditional 401k, let's say you got $1 million in there. You can log into your account and it'll say $1 million, but how much is actually there? How much purchasing power? You don't know, because you don't know what the tax rate is when you go to retire. And a Roth, you know for sure what it's going to be. I put this little graphic here because the next pushback towards a Roth or any kind of retirement account is, well, the government's just going to take it or change the rules. I agree. That's a very real risk. One of the biggest questions I get about precious metals is, are they going to confiscate our silver and gold? Maybe, or they might try to. But I think the low-hanging fruit, the last vestige of wealth for Americans, I'm talking US-centric here, is in traditional IRAs. And you can see this graph that was taken at the end of 2020. There's over $10 trillion in traditional IRAs. Look at Roths, 0.7 trillion. That's nothing. That's a drop in the bucket. So I don't think it's worth expending the political capital for these greedy governments to go after Roths. I think there'd be riots in the streets if they did that. So I think Roth is the safest way to go for planning for retirement. And it's really nice to have that tax-free growth. And you can do a self-directed IRA or a self-directed Roth IRA. And, my wife and I max that thing out every year. And Right now, I'll just be honest with you, it's all in SILJ, junior silver miners. I have the freedom to choose exactly what I want. It's not company options, it's a self-directed Roth, and it grows all tax-free.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
I have bad news for you. If you're not rich by now, you're screwed. And if you're in debt, you're even double screwed. How so, you might wonder? Well, the sad truth is that you're working your whole life to make someone else rich. The mega corporations, the banks, the politicians, everyone is getting richer. They get your money. And what is even worse, they get your time, they get your life. You are not even in a rat race, you're in a financial prison. But what could a solution for you look like? Honestly, I don't know, but I know what a solution for me would look like. It's very simple. I use whatever money I have and I multiply it with 1,000. This could make my life much easier and probably yours as well. If you have $1,000 available and multiply this with 1,000, I believe that this could solve some financial issue for the one or the other. Of course, if you're ugly, you would have to multiply it with much more than 1,000. My name is Markus Dahn, and this is what I decided to do. I decided to 1000x my money. This is not a joke. I know what you may be thinking. What is this guy talking about? How should this work? This is not possible. Well, I made a detailed video where I laid out my plan. And some clever folks might even want to look at this plan and copy it and do exactly what I do. This is just a little hint on the side. You have two options. You leave, you forget what you have seen. You do whatever you're doing and you hope that somehow you get some other results. Good luck with that. Or you click the link below the video. You enter your email address because I'm not showing this to everybody. You at least watch my video on how I plan to 1000x my money. The choice is yours. Make the right choice. Join me. See what a different future you could have. See at least how I plan to do the 1000x. So click on the link below, enter your email address, and I see you on the other side. Your Markus Dahn.